And the next session is going to do very much the same. Now, folks, I mean, this session is that much more important, not only because it's going to shape the current and future trajectory of Islamic finance, it's also going to tell you what fintech holds, what digitization holds for Islamic finance, and vice versa too. As a matter of fact, if you look back and decode or unwrap what the disruption this fintech and digital technology financial solutions are causing, at the base of it, they're actually serving the very mandate of Islamic finance. And what's the mandate? To use risk-sharing based partnership contracts. You call angel investing, you call P2P lending, crowdfunding, whatever nomenclature you have through technology solutions, even venture capital back in Silicon Valley. All of it is actually at the base of it using Mudarabahs and Musharakah and the derivatives of these contracts. As a matter of fact, what it does is it is actually automatically serving what Islamic finance is or supposed to serve. So there is a natural one-to-one marriage, natural one-to-one semblance in digitization, fintech solutions, and Islamic finance. And hence, this session becomes that much more pronounced and that much more important. Not only that, but given the advancements that are happening in the arena of fintech. I don't know how much of you are already aware that in the field of AI, artificial intelligence, the Bletchley Declaration has just recently been signed. 28 countries are signatories. A couple of important GCC nations are signatories to tame the use of artificial intelligence, given the potential it has. Then, the allowance of European Union supercomputers to catalyze innovation in artificial intelligence. These are those advancements, these are all those data points that tells you how much technology is going to shape up not only the financial sector, be it Islamic finance, but also our individual lives. So this is why, please, focus very much on this session that has all of these topics amalgamated in that. And guess what? We have a huge, group of scholars and experts in this domain coming from different parts of the world to regale you with their thought process and tell you what is in hold, what is in store with Islamic finance and digitization going hand in hand. So without further ado, may I have the pleasure to invite the chairman of this very, very important session, a future shaping session, a future tuning session. As a matter of fact, Mr. Ashar Nazim. Ashar, my friend, there you are. Please join us on the stage. Ashar Nazim, folks, is Chief Executive Officer of Aon, a huge fintech guy. Last time we were on the same stage, we had a fantastic discussion going on, and I hope that it goes even better today. Joining the chairman of this session is Mr. Akeem Sheena, one of the speakers. Mr. Akeem Sheena. Mr. Akeem Sheena, are you around? Mr. Akeem Sheena is the CEO of Marble Capital Limited, Nigeria. There you are, brother. Mr. Akeem Sheena, ladies and gentlemen. My dear brother, my dear own Dr. Farooq Habib, who has been my class fellow in our times of Islamic finance as well. So we have a lot of synergy going on. Dr. Farooq Habib, co-founder of Alif Technologies, United Arab Emirates. Last but not the least is Russia, an up-and-coming player in Islamic finance. The Chief Islamic Finance Officer of Saber Bank, one of the prominent banks back in that region, Mr. Benham Gurbanzadeh. Benham, welcome to the stage. So without further ado, Ashar, I leave the floor into your capable hands, and the floor is yours. All the best.
Thank you. So we have our final panelist, Mr. Osama Al-Khaja, board member.
Osama.
Osama Al-Khaja.
Oh, Osama, yeah. I don't have his name over here, so yeah. Osama, please welcome. Please welcome Osama. All right. Now we have all the panelists on the stage, so let's kick it off. All the best.
A very warm welcome to our esteemed panel. And we are here to discuss innovations in banking business that is disrupting the way banking is offered and consumed. The basis of competition has changed. How banks and their customers used to trade revenues has changed. For example, the payments ecosystem we are all aware of. The cost structures of financial institutions have changed. For example, a customer acquisition, onboarding of a customer could take, is down by 80%, 80, 90% as a result of digital onboarding. Similarly, the understanding of the credit risk and therefore the pricing of credit risk has fundamentally changed as a result of new innovations. And the direct beneficiaries are consumers as well as small and medium-sized businesses, which otherwise did not have this access to affordable finance. Right? And then, very important is that innovation is not equal to technology only. Technology, as we will see, is solving a certain problem statement or capturing a certain opportunity. But there is a fundamental business problem or the opportunity which is the focus. So in today's session, what we'd like to hear from our panelists are some of the exciting business models which are coming up, underpinned by certain exponential technologies, and how they are changing how banking is offered and consumed. So we will start with, we'll have two short presentations to set the tone, and then we will get down to understanding certain other business models like open banking and AI with our two other panelists as well. So with this, let me first invite Dr. Akeem to please come take the stage and share with us how banking is being disrupted in Nigeria as a result of fintech and Islamic finance.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I have just 5 minutes here. So I'm going to be speaking to changes that we've seen, in Islamic finance and in fintech in Nigeria, in Africa, and of course the world. As we all know, fintech has been well endorsed and entrenched in Islamic finance, over the last couple of years. We all saw statistics at the last presentation, of what fintech has been able to achieve. The underpinning goal of fintech in Islamic finance is that it is allowed for you to use technology so long as it is preventing the use of banned practices, in transactions such as interest, gambling, cheating, and all the stuff that we know about in Islamic finance. Now, I want to speak to the sizes, that we've seen so far in Islamic finance. We know currently over the last few years, we've been told that the size of the fintech market in the OIC is in excess of 79 billion. And that is still less than 1% of the global fintech industry. But what we've seen is that in Africa, the size is still a lot smaller than this, and that gives us the opportunity that we are looking for, especially the growth of Islamic finance. 53% of the population of Africa are actually Muslims, which means that there's a huge potential for people to actually take advantage of Islamic finance. And what are the roles that we think Islamic finance and fintech can actually play? The first is financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is critical, because it allows, by using fintech, it's going to allow a lot of Africans who are usually, the bulk of which are still below the poverty level, to be able to have access to financial services. Microfinance and SME support is critical for Africans, and we think that fintech has been playing key roles in ensuring that we actually enhance that accessibility. Ethical investment is also a very, very important element. We are seeing a lot more interest, in Islamic mutual funds and Islamic investment opportunities, but we are not able to get to a lot of the population that are desiring these facilities or these opportunities. And that is where Islamic fintech is playing a key role and has potential to play larger roles. Of course, we've been discussing about the risk-sharing models so far, and also the need for us to implement that key aspect of our deen, which is zakat. So fintech innovations are trying to let people know that you can actually collect zakat and also distribute it seamlessly, across multiple platforms. Now, what is the role of fintech in supporting a lot of the growing MSMEs that we've seen in the last couple of years. The first is allowing them to have access to Sharia-compliant financing. A lot of people are interested in getting funding, but at the same time, they want to move away from conventional funding, and that is what Islamic fintech is trying to do now, and also giving access to a lot of small microfinance businesses. We are also seeing a lot of increase in digital banking services. As we saw in the last presentation by the London Stock Exchange Group, we've seen that there's number of increase in the number of Islamic banks coming up every day. However, the quantum of apps that they are creating or digital platform they are creating is not as large as the number of brick and mortar banks that we are seeing. And Islamic fintech is just trying to get in and fix that gap. Also, there's need for us to have a lot more crowdfunding for startups, But I would like to just emphasize some items here, and that is the prerequisites that we need to ensure that we successfully leverage technology in Islamic finance. The first is the digital banking infrastructure. We don't have enough of this, and we need a lot of reliable core banking systems to support some of the innovations we are seeing from the Islamic fintechs. We see a lot of downtimes from some of the systems that are already in the marketplace. The regulatory framework is still a bit, underwhelming, I would say. We are not able to meet up, with the demands of the population from a regulatory perspective. So there is need for the regulators to play catch up and ensure they are ahead of the curve in order to meet the needs and requirements of Islamic fintech. Finally, I will speak to the need for us to utilize a lot more Sharia-compliant payment systems. This isn't enough, given the size of about 650 million potential users that we have on the continent, but Islamic fintech is trying to grow this. What is that magic wand that we think can fix a lot of the challenges that we are seeing by the usage of Islamic finance? Number one, by fixing the digital Sharia-compliant payment systems, and by being able to implement a kafala structure, as was explained to us that happened in Jordan, where you're able to provide guarantees for some of the financial requests of the SMEs, we can actually unlock a significant pool, of financing that is needed for SMEs in Africa. And I think that if we're able to do that, Islamic fintech will play a key role that we'll all be proud of in the next couple of years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
Very crisp, to the point, sets the tone very nicely. Let me now invite our second speaker, Dr. Farrow, who's going to talk about decentralized finance.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and hello everyone. So let me just quickly dive into the main topic of my presentation. So if you look at Islamic fintech right now, although we have seen that our brother Mustafa Adil has just recently launched the report, which will have new statistics and the latest figures. But in 2021, we see that Islamic fintech sector was standing at $79 billion market capitalization, and we were expecting that it would grow to $179 billion in 2026. So it's basically a growth rate of 18% almost, we would say, with which we are expecting that this sector would grow. And if you look at the heat map here, so it shows some interesting facts that you can see that there are some advancements in digital payment solutions, Sharia-compliant P2P lending, and innovative crowdfunding platforms. And we see that why these sectors are thriving is because of three main technologies. One is artificial intelligence, second is blockchain, the third one is big data. But you can also see that in the third line, we are talking about digital assets, and it's a new area. And of course, blockchain technology has enabled us in tapping into this digital asset realm. And
we see that like there is a lot of things are happening, although like people just see this phenomena as get rich quick scheme type of thing, that I meet people and they ask me that, okay, can I buy this token, can I buy Bitcoin now, when it's gonna crash or when it's gonna going to the moon. But let me just tell you that it's a whole universe in it, and then we can utilize this technology and we can actually create Islamic DeFi, decentralized financial solution. In this slide, I would like you to focus on the thing that right now, if you look at the conventional DeFi market capitalization, it's $65.5 billion, which is very close to what Islamic fintech market capitalization is. But the interesting figure is that while Islamic fintech is going to grow with 18% growth rate, DeFi is going to grow with 46% annual growth rate. And we are expecting that by 2030, both DeFi and Islamic fintech both will be having the same, almost same market capitalization. So it's very, very important. But at the same time, I would say that if you look at what Islamic fintech is doing with this segment, because it is also a very fast growing segment of the financial sphere, so the answer is nothing. So to the best of my knowledge, there are very, very minimum number, like I can say 3 to the best of my knowledge, that there are some 3 projects there, but there is nothing there as well. And this blockchain and digital asset phenomena is actually changing the way we are thinking about our business models, and also that the way we can deliver a certain product. For example, I cannot disclose the name of the project, but so that's why I'm just using it as the name Project X as a pseudonym. And it's a real project, by the way, and alhamdulillah, I am basically part of this project. So it's like an Islamic DeFi project. It's a decentralized crypto native Mudarabah platform that easily facilitates trade according to Sharia principle. As we know that in Islamic finance, Mudarabah is basically plays a very crucial role in each and every product and service. Almost like 70% of the products are basically based on Mudarabah. So what I'm seeing is that, like, if we can basically make it decentralized, then it can basically unlock so much potential for us. For example, it stands a testament to innovate in Islamic fintech and DeFi at the same time, utilizing blockchain for transparent and Sharia compliant transactions. And the platform integrates smart contracts to automate everything, number one, and then the compliance, audit, transparency is already there, built in as a feature of the platform itself. And it is just not about innovating for the sake of innovation, but I think that it's a revolutionary concept where transparency and compliance is at the heart of it. And connecting with the theme of our panel discussion, I see that, like, this concept, what we can do is, like, we can facilitate access to Sharia compliant MSMEs as well for them, because this platform has a very strong feature of composability. Composability means that, like, you can even compose different products on top of it. So you can tailor-made the solutions for SMEs and for their specific needs as well. And also at the same time, infrastructure financing can be done because of the blockchain and smart contracts. We can basically eliminate so many risks involved for the investors. And also it can provide economic diversification and inclusivity as a result. But DeFi has its own challenges. So for example, innovation adoption gap is there. So right now we are even reluctant to see blockchain, smart contracts, or even cryptos, or as a enabler for us for innovation. So right now, I think that we have to bridge this gap to reach to that level where DeFi solutions can be integrated into the banking and financial services and products. Number one. Number two is, like, regulatory complexities are there, and I would like to see a certain level of harmonization, and I think that IOFI and central banks can play a big role over here to eliminate this gap and remove the complexities there. And then I would say that talent shortage is also a big problem, and that's where BIBF and other institutions can play their crucial role. And by the way, like one thing I would like to say, like it's about this case study. It's not just a concept. I have been working on it, and Alhamdulillah, I am very much pleased to share this news that yesterday we actually run a Murabaha complete end-to-end on this platform. So its MVP is ready. Inshallah, we will be launching it in 1 or 2 months. So what this exemplifies is that like transformative potential of blockchain and DeFi is possible in a Sharia compliant manner for the betterment of Islamic finance. And by embracing such innovations, we are not only addressing current challenges, but we are paving the way for innovation. And so I see that like collaboration is very, very important at this juncture. And because the technology is already ready. The only thing which I think that is important is change of the mindset, regulatory support, and education. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farooq, and congratulations on Project X. Right, so let me now turn to our other panelists as well. And by the way, we will be taking questions. So if you've got any specific question, and I'll encourage you to have questions which help bring new innovations to life, right? So there are practical takeaways for all of us. But let me go to Brother Behnam. Isber Bank, one of the largest banks in Russia, with also a very large Islamic banking portfolio. Now, how do you see in that market, and generally speaking, what new technologies, what new innovations are you seeing that will help propel Islamic finance?
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a great honor for me to be here among the specialists and the leaders of the market. Thank you also for the invitation to IOFI, and especially for you for managing this, our panel. So, brother, as you know, Sberbank is the biggest bank in Russia, yeah, and we manage accounts more than the 110 million only retail clients. I don't speak about the corporates. And what we see nowadays, so fintech and technologies help us to be more human-centric. We're considering our clients not as only a client, but a human, okay? I would like to be around them, together with them, and to create, we call them halal ecosystem, yeah, like a halal lifestyle ecosystem, in order to provide whole range of products and services which can satisfy them. And what we see number one, trust. They want to see from us trust, loyalty, and 100% transparency. In that case, we also think that, all these fintech services, all these products, even that collection, it should be in the frame of ethical values. So even when we collect data, when we manage this data, when we use this data, it also should be Sharia compliant, Again, this fintech focus and fintech values is generally in young population hands, yeah? And these guys, they don't think about risk management. They don't think about any, risks which can, damage them. They're young, they do from their heart, and this can damage them. So what we can do, we have to be more focused on financial education. We have to be more focused on financial risk education. We have to be very, sensitive to this matter, that this young generation should be prepared for.
Right. So Behnam, talk to us about what is that one or two innovations that sets you apart. I mean, what are banks in Russia doing? What is your bank doing? We spoke earlier about Sharia angle as well, the compliance part, right? I mean, how to bring efficiency there, scale there. Any one or two aspects that stand out?
So we can speak about two of them. So the main one, it's creating digital halal ecosystem for our clients. In the center, we have a client, and around them, we provide him all ecosystem services such as like digital zakat payment through Pay Zakat, a global system. Number two, access to all Islamic products and services. And number two, we're thinking now and we're working on it on Sharia advisory services based on AI access to our supercomputer. So as you know, Sberbank is the owner of two mega supercomputers and gives us good opportunities for data management. So this is number two, AI-based Sharia consultancy and the halal ecosystem.
Right. So what you're talking about, the first one is creating an ecosystem, a halal ecosystem,
Yes.
and providing access through in a digital manner. You are a bank, but this does not only talk about financial services. You're talking about healthcare services. You're talking about other
Hospitality, medicine, hospitals, access to our digital drugstore,
Right.
access to travel base.
Right.
Russia is very big, and since 2020, halal tourism now is developing in Dagestan Republic, in Chechen Republic, in Tatarstan, yeah.
Right.
And now we have to create this knowledge infrastructure. We have
Right.
to create this database.
So very, very interesting, because one of the defining features going forward is the rise of the platform economy. And what platform means is typically not just a software, but platform is all about connectivity, making connectivity a lot easier. And then each institution out there is creating an ecosystem of services tailored to their target market, right? And it completely changes the paradigm, right? You're talking about a super app. For example, Kareem makes a big part, or Uber makes a big part of their money through payments transactions. They're not a financial institution, but they make a lot of money from payments, for example. Similarly, there are retail chains out there who are making a lot of money from financial services and not exactly from their core business. So what you're saying is banks are also then entering all the other. So this brings the financial and the other economy, the financial and the real economy together as well.
It is. It is. It's make the good connection and synergy between the social economy and the financial economy.
Right.
And what we see right now in the market, so as a big player, as the owner of the biggest, let's say, banking app in the market, we have access to retails and to corporates.
Right.
And these gives us great opportunity to connect them. Let's small example. We had a Mudarabah accounts for management, our client's account.
Right.
Based on their requirements, we create peer-to-peer financing platform. When the client can personally choose project.
Right.
What we do rating. We know all that about this client. Let's say who is on a Mudarib site and who is on Rabb al-Mal site, and we give them opportunities to connect and create this infrastructure, legal infrastructure and the operational infrastructure. So
very interesting. Then quickly coming in the interest of time, you mentioned AI for Sharia compliance. Now, AI is a much used and abused word.
Yeah.
Right? And really in this part of the world, there is very less AI innovation. There is more of imitation, and that also in a limited way. And AI also starts from deep analytics and to business intelligence and to machine learning and then AI. Help us understand a little bit on how AI is playing a role with your bank.
Okay, this is more focused on machine learning. When you give information, we have fatwa base, in our bank. So we're working in Islamic finance for more than 5 years. What we do, we give access to machines to learn these fatwas and give the best result. Let's say I have around 15,000 fatwas regarding commodity murabaha or tawarruk or wakala murabaha. What we do, we give him task to this machine, just calculate and give me the final result. Is it acceptable? How can I use
interesting.
it? Yeah,
Very
in Russian law, for example.
Right. And just to share what's happening in the region here is a combination of ChatGPT and other large language models are being used to bring efficiency, 40-50% efficiency in the compliance function. And it's just unbelievable. Seeing is believing. It's very simple to implement. And the problem statement it's solving is with a massive load of customers or paperwork, etc. It's all sorted down to a matter of minutes in terms of understanding what regulations apply or what Sharia aspects apply to which situation. And I'm privy to some banks in UAE who are already working on it, for example. Yeah. So very interesting. So let me now turn to our fourth panelist, Usama Al-Khaja. He is the chair of Aspire Technologies, which is a open banking licensed entity by Central Bank of Bahrain. Brother Usama, so what is the problem, or that open banking is solving, and how do you see it growing for the benefit of Islamic finance? Or even before that, can I have a show of hands? How many people are familiar with how open banking impacts their business? Can we have a show of hands?
Thank you.
Okay, so I can safely say 99%, for 99% of the population here, it's a new topic. So over to you.
Thank you, Brother Ashar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Actually, open banking solutions and open banking technologies are very new not only in this region but in the entire world. Relatively, it is a new category of fintech. It's actually it's about fintech with focus more on sharing of data and giving access to third parties to develop data solutions and analysis. It started in the UK. It's in 2000. Started, I think, in probably 7 or 8 years ago. In Bahrain is the first country in the region here who launched the open banking, and recently Saudi, Riyadh, has launched also their strategy for open banking, and UAE as well, and many other countries. The idea of open banking is to provide or allow others to provide an open banking services to the clients. So this is one of the things that open banking can provide, is basically open banking solutions are not anymore limited to banks to provide them. They can be provided by third parties and by others like telecommunication companies or consumer services and others who could also provide banking services for their clients, some type of banking services. And to enable that, they need to have to develop their own platforms and solutions, and they need to have access to clients' data. So there are lots of, as I emphasized on transfer and issue and analysis of data. This is one type of open banking that could create. The other one also, it enables the clients or the users of open banking to access their banking data and all their transaction in one page, very unified, standardized, same page. So if I have, let's say, Susama, I have bank accounts with 6 or 7 different bank accounts. With open banking data, I could monitor and use my bank accounts from the same page. And not only that, I could also, and they are all standardized, unified. It gives me much clear understanding of my transactions, my banking services, as well as my credit risk and my credit, and also more of that, I could even shop with other banks. I could, within open banking, I could look at what other banks can provide me for this credit. Let's say I have a deposit of $10,000 with X bank, okay, at X profit rate. With open banking, I don't need to check with every bank and tell him how much you can give me. I will be able to know what is the best bank for me, and the bank will be able to approach me also as as a targeted customer. So there are so many applications. This is very few examples. There are so many other applications that open banking can do. It's really it's a revolution, I can call it, in the banking industry.
Right.
and it will help. It's just the beginning. It will depend a lot on data, on the customer data, and it can open, as I mentioned, create lots of opportunities for businesses and for as well as for clients, for individuals, and for other organizations.
Right.
So
No, this is very helpful. So just to summarize that, so at the heart of open banking is that customers, be it individuals or businesses, are given back the control of their data, which until today was only with the banks who had monopoly over that data. So from a regulatory perspective, banks are now mandated to open up their data tap and let the data flow out. And if it's my data, then I can consent who can see it and how they can use it, number one. Number two, as a result of which, what can you do? Why is this important, as Brother Osama rightly said? There are a number of use cases, but especially for Islamic and for finance space and for SME segment. What it does is, it gives you a unified picture of all your financial and banking transactions. Once the unification is there, one dashboard is there, at the back end, there are some very powerful algorithms which are working, which are actually analyzing in terms of how your future financial conditions would look like. So for an SME, and none of the banks believe on the financial statements presented to them from the SMEs, right? But here it is, the connectivity allows for all the real-time transactions and all the financial data from across all banks and markets to be in one place. It is then analyzed using some very powerful algorithms, and as a result of which, it gives a picture of what the credit profile of that business looks like, and therefore how that credit risk should be priced. So until yesterday, this was being done based on, let's say, 10 data points. As a result of open banking, there are 1,000 data points which are informing the credit decision. And therefore, the profile of the SME, the credit profile of the SME is very, very different. It gives comfort to the financing institution, and it gives access to affordable finance, a better price to SMEs. So massive. And just to share, Brother Sama, you mentioned about UK getting started with it. In 2018, which was year one of open banking in UK, in very simple terms, there was, guess how much request for data or API calls? How much request for data was there? Any idea? Some of you may be knowing 60 million. In year one, 60 million requests for data. Fast forward 4 years, 2022. Guess how much requests there were? Any guesses? Come again? A billion? Any other takers? 1 billion? Okay. Any other takers? 6 billion. From 60 million to 6 billion calls for data. And come July 2023, 5 months ago, 1 billion API calls per month. And this only represents 10% of user adoption, customer adoption. So imagine as the customer adoption goes up to 15% and to 20%, what is the seismic shift that is coming our way? How financial institutions read credit and how they price it, and who does SMEs buy from? There is a paradigm shift. It's like televisions, right? 20 years ago when we were growing up, there was one channel for a limited time. And today there are multiple channels and hundreds of programs. It's that kind of seismic shift that's coming our way. And the problem that it is solving is access to finance and affordable finance. So some very powerful stuff. So what we heard about is, okay, so I'll come to questions now very quickly, but what we heard about is something very interesting. We heard about Nigeria, a very populous Muslim country, talking about compliant payment gateways and certain Islamic fintech which still remains small in size but taking off. We heard about decentralized finance, a Mudarabah platform that will make it, what I noted is, more cost efficient, more compliant, transactions, right? I mean, so it brings efficiency.
Yes.
We heard about platform economy and how it gives access to halal ecosystem. We heard about artificial intelligence and how it helps in Sharia compliance, right? And then we heard about open banking and how it enables financing to small businesses, small and medium businesses. I will now turn to my panelists, and my question to you is, if I'm sitting in the audience, I'm hearing all this stuff, my question will be, is it all a Mickey Mouse play as far as Islamic finance is concerned? I don't see a real impact yet on the ground. Is it a Mickey Mouse play? Is it a mainstream play yet? What will it take? A specific question. What will it take for some of these fintech businesses, whether they are banks or independent fintechs, what will it take for these fintech-enabled businesses to achieve a credible scale? So maybe I can start with Benam.
Yes, sir, thank you. You know, from my point of view, it's not a Mickey Mouse game. It's a real opportunities, and we know our goals. We see increasing population of Muslims in the world. We see increasing of young.
But brother, let me be the on the other side. Increasing, but what percent? 1%, 3%, 20%? Do we have a view? Because if it's because many of these fintechs, banks do not have the mindset yet, and they're still in the experimental phase. 2, these fintechs are very small. So how do we get to the credible mass? While we are doing some very good stuff in our own pockets, how do we get to a credible mass so people start taking us seriously?
So the first, it should be bridges between the states and banks, the biggest players in the market. The state and the banks, they should realize, they have to realize that these startups, this whole industry is a big startup.
Yeah.
We have to focus on it as a startup. We have to invest not only money,
Right.
we have to invest our time, we have to invest our ability and our own knowledge.
Right.
And at the same time, I'm telling the same things, in Russia, guys, there is no a place for competition right now. We have to create an industry. We have to create the industry.
So it's a startup, collaboration is the way forward. We've heard this word or this approach too many times. It is the right approach, I agree. Are we seeing enough of it, Brother Osama?
Well, brother, I think
Let me help you.
Are we seeing enough collaboration? Are we seeing that mindset?
it depends on the. We are still. I think this industry. We're speaking about fintech, brother. It's not more than 14 or 12 years old.
Right.
And I heard about fintech in 2012. That's the beginning. And this was too early. So and I don't think so. We are still in the beginning of this journey. We see there are so many things, little things. For example, who are expecting that one day will come what we will not use cash. We will not carry cash with us. And I was speaking to a CEO, a bank CEO, 5 years ago, and I told him one day in Bahrain, people will not use cash. And he told me, I don't think so, because maybe in Europe, and it's still early, maybe after 20 years and he's of very reputed and Islamic banks. And it is so fast that cash.
Any success case studies that come to mind?
Well, success case studies locally here. There are so many initiatives. The wallets is one of them. The wallets become very popular now, in whether they are national wallets or even like in China, they are with Alipay or the WeChat Pay. They are very popular. This is one. So this is just the beginning, as I mentioned.
Right.
Now, speaking about SMEs, for example, maybe credit flow. You take it as an example. It becomes very popular technologies. SMEs financing and digital platforms.
Right. So clearly there are some success case studies as well. Same question to Dr. Akeem. What will it take for Islamic fintechs to scale in Nigeria? What are one or two or three impediments or opportunities?
I think key support factors that we need to get the Islamic fintechs to grow is support from the regulatory agencies and also support, from the
Okay, so
huge role to play.
So they have a huge role to play. What will jumpstart it, in your view?
I think we have success, in any innovative payment system that's able to rival or perform as successfully as some of the unicorns that we have in Nigeria. If we have a successful Islamic fintech, that would be that transaction that would jumpstart this success. Yeah.
Okay, let me turn to Dr. Farouk. So slightly different curveball. So how does all this buzz that we hear about Islamic fintech, how does it feed into the purpose, maqasid al-Sharia? How does it?
So,
These innovations.
yeah, so I think that if you look at Islamic law, if you look at the Islamic legal maxims, so they allow you to innovate in any way. So like al-aslu fil ashiya'i al-ibaha hatta yadul dalil ala tahrim. So we have these kind of Islamic legal maxims which guide us, saying that like you can innovate and you can do whatever you want, even in fiqhul muamalat, as long as you are not falling under the circle of impermissibility, you are okay.
So talk about some innovations that feed into helping the Sharia part of Islamic finance progress.
So if you look at Brother Behnam also said that, okay, like they are using now artificial intelligence for Sharia advisory. Now, one question might be like, it means that like we are creating a robo mufti or what? But then I would say it's a very good and innovative idea. And at least it can basically give us a smart research engine. You understand? So like it's like an assistance. Now, if you look at that, how we were collecting fatwas, writing them, it's a very long and lengthy time taken for this one, because we are doing it manually. So then we can use this artificial intelligence to do it, that it can basically reduce the time to basically to give a fatwa, for example.
Very
so we can do
interesting.
it.
So robo fatwa or robo mufti is a key takeaway for me. Right. So in the interest of time,
You completely got it in the wrong direction. Now, for Sharia scholars will be after me.
not at all. So in the interest of time now, let me turn to the audience and let's have one or two quick questions, please.
Thank you very much, first of all, for lending me your mic. Wow, what a fantastic session. Amazing information. Africa, Project X. I heard it in one of my cartoon series I used to watch. Cyberbank, that's amazing what you guys are. This is a surprise package for me, to be honest, and open banking. Sharia-compliant payment system, Mudarabah contract-based Project X, and AI-based Sharia compliance and whatnot, an ecosystem, and then crazy sort of open banking going on. Fantastic innovation being discussed. But question is, what are you guys going to do to tame the cyber risks? This is cyber risks. This is going to be a make or break for fintech.
Clear. So that's one. Let's take one or two more questions, please.
Thank you. Considering the lack of Islamic banks, their applications, their way of things, what is missing, do you think? And how we can complete it by having a super app? If you design a super app, a platform, what it could be in it? Thank you.
Okay, so let's start with these two questions on the cyber risk. I'll turn to Behnam, given your banking background.
Yes.
So what needs to be done to protect against increasing cyber risk as we move towards more fintech play?
Okay, as I told before, we should be focused on financial education of our clients. This is number one. Be more transparent, be more trustable for them. And number two, we have to digitalize risk management services of the bank. This is our main idea. So today, our risk management team are focused on it. So all risk procedures, risk compliance should be fully digitalized,
Right.
in order to avoid, human being mistakes.
So, Dr. Hakim, would you want to take this question as well?
Yeah, I will just.
What needs to be done on cyber risk?
Yeah, I think there's still need for us to be a bit more agile regards to compliance with data protection, and also try and engage what we call Sharia-white hackers, to test a number of these systems to be sure that we are not exposed, because once we get exposed and one or two of these big apps, get, exposed, people will lose confidence in using them. And we don't want
Clear.
that to happen.
So the other question is very interesting as well. What is missing today? What in a super app? What service? If I understand, in a super app, what additional services would the market want? Right, that Islamic finance, Islamic banks are not providing today. Farooq, maybe we can start with you.
Again, I will go back to my point that we have to change the mindset. So like right now, even in the Islamic banking industry, we have the mindset of product ownership. Like we cannot offer a product if we do not own it. So that I think that this has to change. You can offer a
But give an example that what additional features or services or solutions that a super app can offer.
highly customizable, tailor-made products. That's it. Because I think right now customers' expectations are completely different from.
So what you are saying is
they have.
hyper personalization. Okay. Benam?
So yeah,
Super app.
Yeah, super app. So
What additional features would you want to add to a super app, Islamic super app?
So three things. Number one, it's save time for our clients. This is number one. Our clients say, so today my 1 hour is less than 1 hour a year ago. So please help me to save my time. This is number one. Number two, family values. They want to know that their children, their food, their tourism, their medicines, everything, it's Sharia compliant. They don't want to waste any time on it. In number three, it's security, data security. They want to see their data is secured. Right. This is number three.
Brother Sama, any features you would want to add in an Islamic super app? What features or solutions or capabilities? You can have this mic. Sorry,
it's okay.
Here you go.
So I'm your super app assistant.
That's a very interesting point, right? I mean, so go around.
I need you. Well, thank you, brother, for the question. I think for super app, first, I think providing personalized services based on data analysis, based on big data and machine learnings, and goes all the way to AI solutions within the super app. Now, personalized services are not necessarily financial services. Also, even the non-financial services, I think very important. Clients should receive non-financial services like advisory, best advice for what. For me, like as Osama, I should receive an advice from the super app, knowing my personal data. After analyzing my data, it will give me advice. Osama, you should do the following steps: reduce your exposure in this area, increase. Here you have opportunity to deploy your liquidity, and here and there. And it should be very personalized, and it can be. This is not. This is possible to do it. So I think this is another part that super app can and should provide, which will save lots of efforts and resources. It will be and it will be much more efficient.
Very helpful, Dr. Hakim. What is your pick? 2 or 3 aspects in an Islamic super app.
I think a super app that I would like to have is one that allows me to carry out a lot of transactions different types and across multiple geographies.
And across multiple geographies. So I'll take, my 3 takes will be zakat calculation, number 1, across all my different asset classes. Number 2 will be on the deposit banking, how are my funds being used by the bank? Is it all being transmitted out cross-border and parked in US Treasury or real estate? Or is it into affordable housing? It's not going to be a direct 1-to-1 proportion, but is it into affordable finance? Is it into affordable housing? Is it into entrepreneurship, etc.? And I should be able to move my money based on if the bank is investing per my financial value. And third, smart spending. So I should be able to understand where I'm shopping. Does that support Gaza genocide, for example? Or is that company clean? And if that is there at the tip of my fingertips, then this is what I want from Islamic Super App. Last question, please. We are out of time. Please.
The only and the best way of combating and taking care of cybersecurity is pay attention in the operations department. There is nothing that can be done automatically. And he actually implied this in the United States by the regulation called Regulation E, which means if any customer loses money through fraud, whatever, we have to give him immediate credit. And then you go and sort it out. So my advice to you is Islamic banking or not Islamic banking, there is nothing called Islamic influenza and Christian influenza and Jewish influenza. And influenza is influenza. And you have to pay attention to details.
Right, sir.
You cannot do it automatically.
No, I appreciate it.
And I want to share that with you, number 1. Number 2.
But any questions, sir?
No, I just want to make a comment because I am getting the impression that it's all done honey and beautiful. It is not honey and beautiful. It is hard work and paying attention to the trust that people put in your neck as a banker. If we don't do that and we rely on automatic systems, then you are doomed. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I think we are out of time, so we'll end last 30 seconds for each of our panel here. My favorite question. In the next 12 months, what's your personal commitment to promote Islamic fintech? Starting with Brother Osama, 30 seconds.
Well, in the next 12 years, our commitment is to focus on promoting open banking solutions and use cases for Islamic finance.
Thank you. Thank you. Benam, 30 seconds.
Just 10 seconds enough. Digital Islamic neobank.
In the next 12 months. Excellent. Dr. Farooq.
For me, it's obvious actually. So I will be promoting blockchains and smart contract-based solutions for us to promote Islamic
Project
finance.
X, decentralized finance. Dr. Hakeem.
We're going to support a new bank that will be able to give SMEs access to finance very, very quickly.
SMEs access to finance, and from Aeon side as well, next 1 year, access to finance to 10,000 SMEs in the region is out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our esteemed panelists and the session chair. What a fantastic session. Let's have a group photo, guys. Brother Usher, a group photo, please. Usher.